All right, we're about to take a journey from the sun-drenched surface of our planet all the way down to its crushing blackest depths. We think we know our oceans, but what we see, that's really just the beginning.
So, to really wrap your head around our planet, you have to think about scale. I mean, the ocean covers over 70% of the surface, right? But the truly mind-boggling number is this one, 97%. That's how much of all the water on Earth is ocean water. It's not just on our world. You could say it is our world. Okay, so with all that water, you have to wonder, right? What's actually living in it? Well, we're about to meet some of the most incredible, the most bizarre, and honestly, some of the most important creatures on the entire planet. All right, let's start our journey right here. In the top 200 meters or so, this is the sunlight zone. It's a world bathed in light, and it's teeming with the kind of life we think we know best. But trust me, even here, it is full of surprises. Okay, take coral reefs, for example. You've probably heard them called the rainforests of the sea, and it's for a really good reason. Get this, they cover less than 1% of the entire ocean floor, but they're home to a staggering 25% of all marine species. I mean, the density of life there is just incredible. And yeah, this zone is home to some absolute giants. We're talking about the blue whale, which is the largest animal to ever live. Yep, bigger than any dinosaur. And you've got the gentle whale shark, the biggest fish in the sea. But you know what? Some of the most fascinating creatures are, well, they're much, much smaller. And that brings us to the mantis shrimp. Seriously, don't let its size fool you. This little guy has one of the fastest punches in the entire animal kingdom. It's so fast that its claws literally boil the water around them. It creates this underwater shockwave that can stun or kill its prey, even if the punch completely misses. How wild is that? And if that punch wasn't enough, just think about its vision. So we humans, we have 3 types of color-receptive cones in our eyes. The mantis shrimp, it has 16. 16! We literally can't even imagine the world of color that it experiences. It's just a great reminder that even this sunlit zone we think we know is packed with wonders totally beyond our own perception. Okay, but now we're gonna leave the light behind. It's time to descend into the twilight and midnight zones. This is a realm where the pressure builds, the temperature plummets, and the rules of life, well, they completely change. And the difference is, well, it's stark. From about 200 down to 1,000 meters, you're in the twilight zone, where the last bits of sunlight just fade to nothing. And below that, it's the midnight zone, permanent, absolute darkness. The pressure down there becomes immense. We're talking enough to crush most submarines. So down here, life has to get weird to survive. Like, really weird. So you might be wondering, how do you find food? Or attract a mate? Or even scare off predators when you're in total darkness? Well, you make your own light. This is bioluminescence, and it is the single most important adaptation for life in the deep. It's like a world of living light. And sometimes, that living light illuminates one of the most legendary conflicts on our entire planet. A battle of true titans, fought in the crushing, absolute dark. I'm talking about the giant squid. For centuries, this thing was just the stuff of myth, of sea monster legends. But now we know it's real. It's a creature with eyes the size of dinner plates, and it wages war with sperm whales down in the abyss. And how do we know? Because we find these whales with massive sucker scars all over their skin.
You see, bioluminescence isn't just for defense, it's a weapon. And the anglerfish, the icon of the deep, has perfected the art of the ambush. It just dangles this glowing lure, a single little point of light in all that crushing darkness. Some curious prey moves in to investigate, and in an instant, it's gone. It's the perfect trap for a world that has no light.
All right, let's go even deeper now. Let's meet the creatures that exist at the absolute limits of life itself. These are the ultimate survivors. And some of them, well, they've been on this planet for an almost incomprehensible amount of time. This timeline really puts our own existence into perspective, doesn't it? I mean, look at this. Sharks and horseshoe crabs, they were already ancient when the first dinosaurs showed up. Sea turtles literally watched the dinosaurs come and go, and modern humans were just a tiny recent blip on this massive evolutionary scale. 450 million years. Just let that number sink in for a second. That's how long sharks, as a group, have been around. They have survived 4 of the planet's 5 great mass extinctions. They are, without a single doubt, some of the greatest survivors this planet has ever produced. And all that time surviving has led to some truly unbelievable adaptations. I mean, it gets wild. We've got a jellyfish that can basically reverse its aging process, making it potentially immortal. Then you have the octopus with its 3 hearts and blue copper-based blood. And how about the snailfish, which doesn't just survive, but actually thrives under the insane pressure at the very bottom of the Mariana Trench? Okay, so let's pull back a bit. We've looked at all these individual wonders, but now let's look at the ocean as a whole system. Because it's not just a home for amazing animals, it's the very engine that runs our entire planet. So let me ask you a question. Where does most of the oxygen we breathe actually come from? A lot of people might say the Amazon rainforest, right? Nope. It comes from these tiny, microscopic ocean plants called phytoplankton. These little guys are responsible for up to 80% of the oxygen in our atmosphere. Just think about that for a second. For every 2 breaths you take, 1 of them comes directly from the ocean. So when you put it all together, the ocean's real job becomes crystal clear. It regulates our climate, it produces the oxygen we breathe, and it's a food source for billions of people. It's not just a big body of water, it's our planet's life support system. And that brings us to our final and maybe most important section. We've seen all the wonder and the power of the ocean, but now we need to talk about the fragility of this last great frontier. Look, if there's one thing to take away from all of this, it's this. The ocean isn't some separate world over there filled with interesting creatures. Its health is directly, and I mean inextricably, tied to the health of everything living on this planet. And that includes us. And right now, that life support system is in trouble. Big trouble. This date, 2050, that's the year that scientists are predicting most of the world's coral reefs, you know, those rainforests of the sea that support a quarter of all marine life, could just be gone if things keep going the way they are. So all of this leaves us with a final, pretty sobering question. You know, despite everything we've talked about today, humanity has explored less than 5% of our own oceans. It's a universe of wonders that we're only just beginning to understand. So the question we have to ask ourselves is, what will we destroy before we even discover it? What secrets, what cures, what incredible forms of life will we lose before we even knew they existed? It's something to think about. Thanks for joining me on this journey.